Okay, there we go. Okay, so Bill and Teresa Sillis, thanks for joining us. I'm so curious to hear about the background of how you all got into this business. We have obviously introduced the club to XL Pickles, but in fact, we had a tasting one night at one of our social events, which was quite awesome. So tell the group, how did you guys get into the pickleball business? I mean, the pickle business in the first place.
Well, I've been in operations most of my career, but when I was younger, my uncle is Jim Humbert, who owns Humbert's Meats. I don't know if you've ever heard of Humbert's Meats, but so when I was younger, I used to work in a produce and with my uncle in the meat business, and then we got away from that. But my brother owns Grayson Meats down in Findlay Market, and Rick Lenz, who used to own this business, the AJ Lenz, was servicing him. So he got to know Kenny pretty good, my brother, and then Kenny told us this business was for sale, and we talked about it. And I went to work with Rick for a couple months just to see what the business was like, and enjoyed what we were doing. So we ended up buying the business and getting in the business of pickles.
That's awesome.
We both enjoy food and cooking and stuff. So
and we've always wanted to own our own business.
Yep.
Better late than never, right?
Yeah, really. So did you all know anything about making pickles when you first got into it?
Nothing.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
So no more than I know about making pickles, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So I went down there, and like I said, I worked with Rick, and I worked with his wife a lot, who was doing a lot of the packing and the pickles. But Rick was the guy that taught me a ton down there. So I spent a lot of time with him, learning how to make the brine, learning what we need to do, and how to move the product, how to order the product, how to get it in, and what we had to do. So, Rick and Kate still support us, and they were a big supporter of ours through this.
Yeah. So what was that learning curve like? Is it a pretty straightforward thing to learn, or was it more difficult than you thought?
Actually, there were a couple things. It was a little more difficult than I thought.
It's a lot of work.
It's the physical work.
A lot of work
Is what I think surprised both of us, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of physical work involved with this. And then, going out on the truck, we own 2 trucks, and we have one guy that drives for us, and I drive for 3 days a week. So, that took a little bit of learning too, driving a big box truck around and doing deliveries, because that was a little different for me. Teresa's used to working with the public and getting out in front of the customer, and so that was a little bit of a learning curve for me too, getting in front of the customer like that. So
yeah, well, cool. What's been, other than our current reality, which I'm sure is a huge challenge, what's been the most challenging thing so far?
Honestly, I think just all this sanitizing after everybody comes in and out of the shop. I mean, we are constantly wiping, changing gloves, spraying. We have always had a very clean place, but to put this on top of it has been a lot more work, to say the least. Trying to stay on top of buying sanitizing products and just making sure that we keep it safe for everyone
that's been
that enters our building or anything that leaves our building.
Yeah, that's been a challenge through this. But as a whole, the business before that even happened, the challenge
before this happened?
Probably, what the biggest challenges were? Trying to find a building, the location, someplace that made sense for us and our customers. Other than that, we've really enjoyed it. I mean, we get to work together a lot more, and we really work well together. We bounce ideas off of each other, so it's been really good that way for us. I mean, if we didn't, it would have never worked for us. But we work really well together, so that's been a big plus.
That's awesome.
Probably the biggest challenge has been finding the right location for this when we moved it. They used to be in Camp Washington in a small house down there, and then we moved it up here. We leased this building in Montfort Heights, and it just gave us so much more room and made so much more sense. It's made the business a lot easier to operate.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your best-selling product?
Hot pickles.
Hot pickles.
Hot
Absolutely.
Pickles.
because we can customize the heat. You know, I mean, people come in and they'll say, you know, I want this 10 times heat, or the most we've had was a 50 times heat, 50 times.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
Which is just crazy.
which is crazy. Some guy was doing it on hamburger slices because he was training for a Dorito contest. So he bought 50x hamburger slices, but it's not unusual for us to get a 20x or a 25x heat.
And that's no joke. It's not like ordering Chinese food when you say, I'll take a 10.
Yeah.
1 through 10 or something.
I mean, when you say 50, I don't even know how anybody puts it to their lips.
I know.
Did you try the 50X product?
Absolutely not.
I have not. The most I think I've done is a 2x, and that's
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I tried the hot pickles at our social event, and yeah, they're not messing around. I mean, there's some heat there for sure.
There is some heat, and people like that. I think Teresa's right. That's our best selling product.
The other thing is sweet mix.
It's sweet mix, and then we have jalapeno olives that are. If you like olives, the jalapeno olives are a huge hit.
That's been a challenge, just keeping them on the shelves. I mean, we hand stuff every one of those, and it is very time consuming. And like Bill said, it's a big hit. So
wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not a big olive guy, but I need to try those for sure.
You do.
That's my favorite. I'm an olive person besides pickles, but I love the olives.
Yeah.
So what makes XL unique, and what keeps your customers coming back to you guys?
I'd like to think it's a couple things. You know, this brand's been around since 1917, so it's been around for a long time, and it's developed a real good following. We're not your typical. We're just not your typical pickle. We're a local company, and I think our juices has a little bit better flavor than most. You know, that are kind of a mass-produced pickle that's just thrown in there.
I think people like that old-fashioned deli type of pickle.
Yeah.
I think it brings back a lot of memories for people because of it being around for the last 102 plus years.
Right.
I think the whole memory behind XL Pickle, it's been so cool for me to see people enter our building and literally start to cry as they start sharing memories about their grandpa bringing this magical pickle into their home, and they never knew where to get it. And then they saw our sign. I think they like when they walk in and they see just people cutting pickles and making pickles and hand packing pickles. I think it brings so much, I don't know.
I agree, because they tell us a lot of stories. They'll say, my grandpa bought these pickles when I was little, and he would bring them home, and it makes it fun.
Yeah.
It really does.
Makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. So clearly you all are marketing geniuses, because you found the Cincinnati Pickleball Club somehow. How'd you find us?
Well, I read it in the Enquirer, and I was talking to Teresa about it, but then our friend.
We have to give shout outs to our friend Stan Schaefer, who said to Bill, I think you guys need to get involved with it. He was referring to the Green Township one, and but Bill reached out
to you guys,
just hoping to spread the word to that side of town.
Right.
Also, we're pretty known over here, but we were kind of hoping to venture into your area also.
So yeah.
Cool. Well, we're up to 165 members, I think. Obviously this coronavirus thing has slowed that down a little bit, but I'm still optimistic that by the end of the year, that number will be, hopefully double that, especially once the courts open back up. I think people will be raring to go. So
yeah,
we're looking for opportunities in the back half of the year to keep promoting our partnership with you guys, which we're extremely proud to have, I will say.
Well, we're proud to be part of it. Teresa and I were both bummed about that tournament being canceled, because we were looking forward to kind of going up there, meeting people, bringing some product up there and stuff. And then when the tournament got canceled, we were, but again, what are you going to do?
I remember we made that call, and I remember just like a week before that, we started talking about whether that was going to be a necessity. And I remember thinking, like, no way, there's no way this is going to get bad enough. And in just a few days, it just was evident there was no way we were going to have an indoor tournament. So we will, our intent is to still have that thing in this calendar year and find a way to do it safely and all that. And I think every day that goes by, we learn a little bit more about how we might make that happen. So I'm still extremely hopeful. And the kind of good news, bad news is we do need an indoor space to pull that off with as many people as we had registered. But we'll figure that out. I think there's a lot of good news coming, hopefully, about our ability to move forward safely. So,
Right.
have you guys played pickleball?
No, we
No.
would love to learn.
I think, did my dad play pickleball? Did he say play pickleball? My dad and mom used to go when my mom was alive. They would go to the villages every year.
Oh, really?
And down in the villages, there's a lot of pickleball courts down there. And I don't know if he played. He may have
Yeah, I
played
think he
down
said
there.
he watched it a lot.
Yeah, he
but
watched
never
it a
actually
lot.
played it.
Okay, yeah, maybe so. So yeah,
I
but
think
we've never actually put a racket in our hand.
I think the Villages is up to 200 courts or something like that. I mean, it's just an
Yeah.
unbelievable number.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is welcoming people of all skill levels. So I know you guys had planned to come out some Friday night. So we will absolutely get you out. One of my favorite things to do is to teach people how to play. So I'm actually doing that tonight at 5:00 with a local couple of mine who bought a net, and they're setting it up in their cul-de-sac, and they're taping out the lines and all that kind of stuff. So
Something like that on YouTube. And I've been watching the YouTube clips when you get them on. And it looks like a fun, it looks like it's more difficult than you would think it would be, but it looks like it's fun.
well, the good news is it's really easy to learn, and it's really easy to get pretty good. It's hard to get very good, which is what I think people love about it. Is there's a challenge of going to this next level that just it keeps you coming back and keeps you coming back. So I was actually playing on a private court last night and struggled with a couple shots that I thought I had in my back pocket, and it just reminds you, like, it's not easy to stick with it and to get really good. So
Fun.
yeah, so we can't wait to have you guys out. Well, thank you again for being part of the club. It's we started talking about this thing back in late last year, and finally got it really cooking in January. And despite the coronavirus, I think it's going to be a huge success story for this year, and hopefully for the city for some time to come. We're hoping to influence the city to develop more courts and give some serious thought to like how Cincinnati could benefit from a sport like this that's growing like crazy. So glad that you guys are part of that, and hope we can benefit Excel in the process.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, and we want to be part of your group too, and your growth too. So, don't be afraid to reach out to us if you need anything. And it's just looks like a lot of fun.
Okay,
so.
sounds good. All right, I'm gonna end this recording, and then we'll sign off. Thanks, guys.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Uh-huh.